Oh my goodness. Well, this is exciting. What a lovely venue here, Capilano Library here in 26 territory. So thank you. We had to say as MLAs, we had to actually thank three amazing humans for securing a space for us. So our staff, thank you. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll say a few words to start, and then I'll throw it over to the lovely Racky. I know, for those of you who don't know, I'm Janice Irwin. I'm the MLA for Edmonton Highlands Norwood.
And I'm Racky Jubilee, MLA for Edmonton Whitemud.
And I know once we saw that we had the opportunity to present the Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee Medal, Racky and I both saw right away one of the criteria. I mean, the criteria are pretty loose, but one of the criteria is something along the lines of has made a significant contribution during COVID. And we both thought instantly, the Vax Hunters. There was no other group that came to mind when it came to prioritizing public health and particularly the important role of vaccines. And I'll share a personal story. I saw firsthand when these three were part of the Vax bus. Sorry if you missed the Vax bus, but it was in my area at Commonwealth Stadium, and that was just one example of the countless hours that these three put into ensuring that folks would have access to vaccines. And let me tell you, they're being at the Vax bus at the Elks game, there were a couple of strange looks, maybe a few strange things said to them and to us, but they soldiered on, and I can't even imagine some of the hate that you've put up with throughout this pandemic, but you've persevered, and again, we can't think of anybody more, oh my goodness, more deserving than these three individuals. Right?
Thanks, Janice. I also, and I know you meant to say it, but we just want to acknowledge that we are gathered on Treaty 6 territory, and of course also the Métis people who share a deep connection to this land. I am like every other parent who during the pandemic was desperately looking for clear, accurate information about how to keep my kids and how to keep my family and myself safe during the pandemic. And it is a public service to us all what Vax Hunters and these three women did for Albertans. It was absolutely critical at a time when information was unclear, when there was a lot of confusion, there was a lack of clear messaging from the very people who were responsible for delivering that information to Albertans around how to access vaccines as well as how to access rapid test kits. We all remember that situation where we were all scrambling to find those test kits. And it was like this voice of reason was the Vax Hunters. And it just would come out with this clear information. Here's where you go to register this is when registration will open for you to get a vaccine. You're now eligible. This is the kinds of different vaccines that are available. This is where they are. This is a pharmacy near you that is providing this vaccine. This is how you do. Here's a phone number. If you want to book your appointment, you can do it here. It was a masterclass in many respects of how to clearly and accurately convey information that Albertans were desperate for during a time of incredible misinformation and a lack of clarity, again, from the government who's supposed to do that. Really what happened is we saw these three Albertans step into the void where the elected officials and the apparatus of government was failing to deliver that clear message to Albertans. These three Albertans did that, and that was a public service for us all. And I don't know how many Albertans actually know, right, who these three women are. Like, I don't know that they never did it with any sort of like looking out for that recognition or acknowledgement. I don't know that anybody understood that it was just three women. Like, it wasn't like a whole group of team of people getting paid, right? I mean,
working moms, two other things going on in their lives.
And they were doing what I think all of us really needed during the pandemic, was being, really clear and rational and informative and fact-based. And then I think because they became such a trusted voice for this information, they actually also became incredibly effective advocates. Because then they got to take their experience and the connections that they had made, and to really push for greater access to vaccines for groups. They looked at I remember sitting down and listening about what the barriers were, for example, for children to access vaccines. Their advice, their recommendations as people who were making that information available. Well, what would make it easier for families to access vaccines? We relied on them, right? To give us their advice. They became not just information givers, but actual advocates. And I don't think Albertans truly understood who these women are, but they are incredible human beings. I felt particularly honored to discover, quite accidentally by the way, that Sara Borchiellini, who I already knew in a personal capacity, was one of the VAC centers. Like I was like, on top of all the other great things she does, a teacher at a school in my riding, a great parent, she was also doing that on top of, she was also doing the service to all of Albertans. And I know that, Sara and Janaya were doing the same. Like, it's really remarkable. This is a no-brainer for us.
It absolutely is. I was joking to somebody else earlier that I'm sure we weren't the only ones in the midst of the pandemic, which is still very much going on. Thank you all for asking. We said something along the lines of, these three deserve a medal, and then sure enough, when there was an opportunity to give medals, we jumped on that. So without further ado, I know we want to hear from these humans as well. We are also graced by the presence of the local MLA, who's also a big fan of public health and vaccines, Marlon Schmidt. So he's going to come up and join us as well. So as Racky noted, Sara Borchiellini. Sara Borchiellini, she told me how to pronounce it. I already told her I would say it wrong. Borchiellini is Racky's constituent. Neither Janaya or Sara Mackey are my constituents, but I wanted to make sure that they got medals. And so Sara's actually pretty close to you. She's in Rachel Notley's riding, so we figured that would make sense. So, Janaya, Sara, and Sara, if you can come up here, please, we would like to present you with your medals.
All right.
This is the hard part. Nobody watch.
Okay, yeah, this is where it gets a little tricky. So just everybody can see the little
My
medal.
safest spot next to my
Okay, so are you okay with me stabbing this?
Are you okay? I've not heard of it. Don't stab her.
Yes.
It does. Do you want me to take it off? Okay, because I wasn't sure. Some people like to keep it on. Now you're going to make me do I won't say that it's easy, but I will.
It is not easy.
It is not easy to do that.
No, nobody trained us. Nobody showed us how to do this.
Nobody showed us anything.
Marlon's got things handled over here. I don't know. Thank you.
Hey, Marlon, stop making us look bad. I'm taking it's not the plastic taken off. I'm sorry. I'm not okay with the plastic.
I know, right? It's tricky.
Thank you. I'm like the pressure of everybody. Yeah, there we go. Yay. This jumpsuit, by the way.
Box. Everybody loves a nice box.
Okay. Thank you. And then official photographers, what would be the best? I feel like the back centers would be maybe all
Should we go in like in the...
maybe all
In the
together,
middle?
yeah. And then how about Racky and I? Does that work? Oh yeah, tallest
Yeah, I got
to
it.
shortest. This is
I got it.
right.
Can I also ask somebody to take photos?
Chris is taking a bunch for me
Got
too,
it.
which I can send to you.
Okay.
My official photographer. Perfect.
All right. All right.
We're getting in
Sorry,
there.
I have to do that.
Okay,
Yeah,
we gotta get in
put my arm
close.
around here.
Are we all in?
Grab someone's arm. I don't know who it is.
Okay, we gotta look at Chris's because that's an important one. But I feel like we should look at the actual camera too. Okay, let's look at these two in the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
High pressure.
Okay, everyone look up a table on the chair.
Alright.
Oh, hang on, let me fix your jacket. There we go.
You got the top and the front.
Here we go. Awesome.
Huge round of applause.
Yeah, we're gonna have a seat on that.
Oh, I love this.
We got official over
This is
here.
this is amazing.
So this will be like your podium.
No.
Okay, so first off, I would like to thank Emily Dallin, Racky, and Emily Schmidt for presenting us with these medals today. We're deeply honored that you thought of us. And special thanks for Executive Director Chris Galloway, President of Medicare, for attending. Nice to meet you in person. Thank you to our friends and family who have listened to us rant and ramble about vaccines and the pandemic, and especially to our parents and spouses who have taken care of our much neglected children while we're tweeting over the past year and a half. Especially while we've done countless interviews during the day and all the tweets. I vividly remember the day that I created the Vax Center account. I remember thinking, should I actually do this and post appointments? It was April 16th, 2021. We had just helped the 75 plus crowd book, which, if you can recall, was an absolute disaster. There was a hack on Twitter. It was not good. I had booked many individuals that I did not know. I know Sara did as well. I learned that hundreds of appointments were going unused. I myself got a wasted shot of Pfizer. I showed up at a pharmacy and they're like, we have 600 shots. Do you want one? Sure. Felt a little bit guilty about that. So that's kind of how the Vax Center account was born. We wanted people that were able to go get vaccinated to actually go do so. I was not an avid Twitter user. I maybe have 50 followers on my personal account. That's not something I did. I was not part of the Alberta Twitter community before this all happened. So this was kind of unprecedented for me. I figured I had enough time, being a stay-at-home mom with a 7-month-old and a 3.5-year-old, to post some appointments on the account. Little did I know that account would take off and we would now have over 20,000 followers. It's not well known that the three of us did actually not know each other before this happened. Everybody assumes that we were friends, we created this account. No. Sara Mackey rolled into my DMs the day I created the account, saying that she had been doing this on her own on various social media platforms. Her friends and family had deemed her vaccine clippy. Remember in Microsoft Office, the little paper clip that comes up and shouts different tips and tricks at you. Still very much true to this day. Yeah. A few days later, she joined the Vax Center team in an official capacity. Sarah B then rolled into our DMs and asking us how she could help, if she could create spreadsheets for us, what would be most helpful, can she help us? And a few short weeks later, she joined our team officially. The three of us luckily have gotten along very well. We complemented each other's strengths and weaknesses. I don't like making phone calls. Sarah B will make phone calls for me. It's perfect. From there, life got a little bit wild for us. We became the unofficial Alberta Pandemic Customer Service Department. If you read our Twitter bio, that is what it will read to this day. We are answering questions, helping Albertans book, advocating for marginalized groups to have better access, troubleshooting, sharing studies, and doing countless media interviews. We've had non-stop Zoom meetings with medical officers of health, with 19-0, the Vax Bus, Action for Healthy Communities, and with every level of government. Juggling this between our full-time jobs, parenting, and just daily life. I'd like to share one of our most memorable Vax Center stories with you. It was back in April of 2021. We got an email from a lady named Sharon who lived in southern Alberta and was not able to book her vaccine appointment. She was 77 years old and had no friends and family nearby. She emailed us from an email address that was not returnable, which absolutely devastated us that we couldn't reach her. So Sara Mackey took it upon herself to look her up in the phone book, and I made the call to her despite not liking making phone calls, and personally booked her over the phone for her vaccine appointment the next day. She was not creeped out at all, presumably, since phone books are not strange concept to septuagenarians. She emailed us the next day to let us know that her Vax appointment went off without a hitch. We moved from just helping people book appointments to sharing information about rapid tests, troubleshooting vaccine records, helping to dispel misinformation, advocating for marginalized groups, liaising between different community groups and the government, and so much more. Hey, last year we even helped people find Christmas trees. We are so honored to have helped an immeasurable amount of Albertans book their vaccinations, speak with hesitant family members, and empathize with pandemic challenges and answer common questions. We appreciate the support from everyone who has trusted us, provided us with leaked information, let us help with vaccination clinics in person, and passed on our information to friends and family. And a special thanks to our junior vax hunters who have done some interviews and helped us along the way as well. We did not start this endeavor to gain accolades or to be on the news, but we are deeply grateful to be recognized today. Our goal has always been to help save lives, to take pressure off our strained healthcare system, and do what we can in ending the ongoing COVID pandemic. Thank you. And now there are refreshments for anybody who wishes to stay and join us.
Thank you for coming. Yes, thank you for coming, everybody.
Can I put you on yes, we did. Try
Well, I sent them